If you are listening to this prayer right now, it is not by coincidence. You are here because God has allowed this moment, because your life matters, and because heaven is aware of your journey. There are seasons when the heart grows weary, when the mind feels crowded, when the weight of unseen battles becomes difficult to explain. Yet even in those moments, the Lord remains present, attentive, and faithful. This prayer is for the one who feels surrounded, for the one who feels delayed, for the one who has been quietly enduring pressure while still holding on to faith. God is not absent from your story. He sees what others do not see. He understands what you have never spoken aloud. As we pray together, allow your heart to rest in the truth that God is able to strengthen what feels weak, restore what feels broken, and open what has felt closed for too long. If this message resonates with you, you are welcome to stay, to pray along, and to share this moment with someone who may also need encouragement today. Father God, I come before your throne of grace in the name of Jesus Christ. Your word invites us to come boldly, to seek mercy, and to find grace in our time of need. And today, Lord, I come with that need before you. You have promised that when we call, you answer. You have promised to strengthen the soul of the one who cries out to you. So, with a sincere heart, I call upon you now. You stand here now, not as a victim of unseen battles, but as someone deliberately covered by the hand of God. And as these words reach you, I speak directly to your spirit that you are not abandoned, you are not forgotten, and you are not defenseless. Because the Lord who formed you is present even in the places where your strength felt thin and your heart felt worn. And he is listening to every silent cry you never found words for. There have been moments when pressure surrounded you from all sides, when delay felt heavy, when confusion lingered longer than comfort, when unseen resistance made you question your own clarity. Yet even there, the God of David remained your refuge, your fortress, your shield, your strong tower. And the breath in your chest right now is evidence that his hand has not released you. You may have felt watched, misjudged, envied, misunderstood, or opposed by hidden intentions. But hear this deeply. Every eye that watches you with malice is not stronger than the eye of the Lord that watches over you. Every word spoken against you in secret is not louder than the voice of God that speaks favor over you in heaven. And every plan formed against your progress must answer to divine authority. Even when you did not understand the weight you were carrying, even when your spirit felt tired, but your responsibilities remained many, God was quietly strengthening you beneath the surface, building endurance you did not know you had, anchoring you when waves attempted to move you, and holding your destiny steady while the storm tried to distract you. The atmosphere around you begins to shift now, not through noise, not through panic, but through divine authority. Because when the presence of God surrounds a person, darkness loses its confidence, confusion loses its grip, heaviness loses its hold, and the peace of the Lord begins to press against everything that has been pressing against you. The Lord himself has spoken in Psalm 138. 3, that in the day you cried, he answered you, and strengthened you with strength in your soul. This is not poetic language for performance. This is spiritual truth for survival. Because your strengthening was never about emotion alone. It was about God reinforcing you quietly while the battle was still unfolding. So now I speak over you with spiritual clarity that whatever was sent to disturb your peace, whatever was released to interrupt your progress, whatever was whispered to weaken your confidence, whatever was projected to confuse your direction, must return to its sender without residue in your body, without residue in your mind, without residue in your path. You are not walking alone into your next season. You are not exposed in the territory God has assigned to you. You are not vulnerable to every unseen force, because you are surrounded by divine presence, guarded by divine awareness, protected by divine intention, and held by a shepherd who does not sleep when you rest. The scripture declares in Psalm 23:4 that even though you walk through the valley of the shadow, You shall fear no evil, not because danger never existed, but because presence overpowered it. And today that same presence goes ahead of you, stands beside you, and forms a shield around you. As we continue, allow your spirit to remain open, not in fear, but in trust, because this prayer is not creating something new around you. It is awakening you to what has already been active, already surrounding you, already defending you, already restoring you, and already preparing divine favor to manifest in your path. The strength that rises within you now is not something you are forcing into existence. It is something being restored, something being remembered, something being reawakened by the Spirit of God, who has never stopped working beneath the surface of your life. Even when you felt delayed, even when you felt overlooked, even when you felt stretched thin by responsibilities and expectations you never asked to carry alone. There are battles you survived that no one applauded, nights you endured that no one witnessed, tears you swallowed that no one heard, and yet, through it all, the hand of God remained steady over you, guiding you quietly, restraining what could have destroyed you, redirecting what could have consumed you, and preserving you for a future that still holds divine intention. You are not imagining the resistance you have felt. You are not exaggerating the heaviness you have carried, because spiritual opposition is real, silent battles are real, hidden pressures are real. But what is greater, what is deeper, what is stronger, is the authority of God resting upon your life, surrounding your spirit, and rising now like a wall of fire around your destiny. Every negative intention that has been aimed toward your progress, every jealous whisper that has followed your steps, every unseen assignment meant to frustrate your clarity, every subtle attack meant to drain your joy, is being intercepted in this moment, reversed in this moment, redirected in this moment, and sent back to its origin without permission to return. You are not required to fight this battle with your own strength, because the battle was never meant to be sustained by your effort. It was meant to be sustained by God's authority, by His covering, by His wisdom, by His timing, and by His unshakable presence that surrounds you even when you do not feel emotionally strong. The Lord declares in Psalm 27:1 that He is your light and your salvation. So whom shall you fear? He is the strength of your life. So whom shall you be afraid of? And this is not a statement of denial. This is a declaration of spiritual reality, that even when fear tried to rise, it could not remain where divine strength now stands. Let your spirit receive this truth deeply, that you are not exposed, you are not abandoned, you are not left unguarded in the territory of your calling, because God Himself has taken responsibility over your protection. And when God defends a life, no hidden agenda can override His authority. No unseen force can bypass His covering. No delayed season can cancel His promise. The confusion that attempted to cloud your thinking is losing its influence. The heaviness that tried to settle in your chest is losing its permission. The emotional exhaustion that made you question your resilience is losing its grip, because the presence of God does not coexist with chaos. It brings order, it brings clarity, it brings stability back into the inner world of the soul. You are being strengthened in ways that are not loud but are deeply effective, strengthened in discernment, strengthened in perception, strengthened in spiritual awareness, strengthened in quiet authority, so that you are no longer easily shaken by every emotional wave, every discouraging thought, every delay, or every negative report that once felt overwhelming. This is the season where you are no longer merely surviving pressure, but standing above it, no longer carrying fear, but walking with discernment, no longer absorbing attacks, but watching them lose power before they reach you. Because divine authority is not only covering you now, it is establishing you, fortifying you, and anchoring you in a place of spiritual stability. There is a quiet authority forming around your life now, not loud, not chaotic, but deeply rooted, like a foundation being reinforced beneath a house that has weathered too many storms. And what once felt fragile within you is being stabilized by a strength that does not come from emotion, but from divine alignment. You are beginning to sense it, even if you cannot yet fully explain it. That subtle shift where heaviness no longer sits as deeply, where fear no longer speaks as loudly, where discouragement no longer feels like a permanent companion. Because the presence of God does not only comfort, it recalibrates the atmosphere around a person, until even the unseen begins to respond differently. Every weight that tried to convince you that you were behind in life, every comparison that quietly drained your confidence, every internal struggle that made you question your worth is being gently dismantled. Because God is not only interested in defending you from external opposition, He's restoring your inner clarity, your identity, and your spiritual stability. You're not being pushed forward by pressure. You're being drawn forward by purpose. And there is a difference, because pressure exhausts the soul, but purpose strengthens it. And the reason you are still standing today is not because you forced yourself to survive, but because God preserved you intentionally for what is ahead. The atmosphere of resistance that lingered around you is thinning. Not because of noise, not because of struggle, but because divine authority has entered the space. And when God steps into an atmosphere, confusion loses alignment, heaviness loses permission, interference loses direction, and what once felt blocked begins to quietly open. You are no longer absorbing every emotional weight around you, no longer carrying burdens that were never assigned to you, no longer entertaining thoughts that were never planted by God, because discernment is awakening within you, teaching you what to release, what to ignore, what to walk away from, and what to trust. Every subtle manipulation meant to slow your progress, every hidden agenda that attempted to influence your decisions, every unseen pressure that tried to exhaust your spirit is being uncovered by divine light. And what is exposed cannot remain powerful, because darkness survives only in secrecy, not in the presence of truth. You are being taught to stand without striving, to trust without forcing, to move without panic, and to rest without guilt, because God is restructuring your inner world so that you are no longer driven by fear of delay, but anchored in assurance of timing. There is a new steadiness settling over you now, where even when circumstances have not fully changed, your spirit feels less shaken, your mind feels less scattered, your heart feels less heavy. And that is not imagination. That is the result of divine covering becoming more active in your awareness. This prayer is not building strength from nothing. It is drawing out what God already placed within you long before this moment. Resilience you did not know you had. Discernment you did not know you were developing. Endurance you did not know was forming, all preparing you quietly for the season ahead. You are being drawn deeper now into the truth of Psalm 138, where gratitude rises not because every battle has ended, but because God has proven himself faithful, even in the middle of unfinished journeys. And as this prayer continues, your spirit begins to remember that the Lord does not abandon the work of his hands. He completes what concerns you with intention and precision. There have been moments when your strength felt small, when your progress felt slow, when your answers felt delayed. Yet Psalm 138 carries the quiet assurance that God's purposes over your life are not fragile, they are not temporary, they are not easily interrupted by opposition. Because what God has ordained, he actively sustains. You are not walking under random covering. You are walking under covenant attention, where heaven does not merely observe your struggle, but actively responds to it, where the cry of your heart does not disappear into silence, but rises as a sound that God acknowledges and answers in ways you may not immediately perceive, but will surely recognize in time. The opposition you have faced did not begin yesterday, and the faithfulness that has preserved you did not begin yesterday either, because Psalm 138 reveals a God who responds to the cry of his people consistently, a God who strengthens the soul internally before he shifts circumstances externally, a God who builds you quietly while the battle is still loud. Even when prideful voices attempted to diminish your worth, even when unseen resistance attempted to make you doubt your value, the Lord remained close, not distant, attentive, not distracted, committed, not hesitant. And his nearness has been shaping your resilience more deeply than you realize. You are not being sustained by your own endurance alone. You are being upheld by divine involvement, by the kind of attention that watches over your steps when you feel uncertain, by the kind of protection that intercepts harm before you even recognize the threat, by the kind of mercy that continues to cover you even on the days you feel spiritually tired. The God who hears your cry is also the God who honors your tears, who notices your patience, who records your perseverance. And Psalm 138 carries this gentle truth that God does not disregard the humble heart. He draws near to it, strengthens it, and defends it when pressure attempts to rise against it. There is a restoration of confidence taking place within you now, not arrogance, but grounded assurance, the kind that comes when you realize you are not surviving by accident. You are being sustained by intention. You are not still here because you were strong enough. You are still here because God has been faithful enough. The attacks that tried to weaken your hope are losing their influence because hope is being reestablished from a deeper place, not emotional excitement, but spiritual stability. The kind that does not collapse when circumstances remain uncertain. The kind that rests in the understanding that God's plans for you remain intact. You are beginning to feel the shift not only around you, but within you, where fear no longer dominates your inner voice, where heaviness no longer defines your atmosphere, where discouragement no longer feels like your identity. Because divine remembrance is awakening inside you, reminding you that God has never lost track of you. This moment is not separate from your journey. It is part of the unfolding, part of the strengthening, part of the restoration, part of the divine attention that Psalm 138 reflects, where the Lord continues his work in your life, patiently, intentionally, and faithfully, even when you could not see how it was happening. You are not being carried by emotion in this moment. You are being carried by remembrance, by the slow awakening of truth that God has been present in every season you thought you were walking through alone. And as this awareness settles deeper, something within you begins to rise with quiet authority, not forceful, not strained, but steady and unmovable. The resistance you encountered was never proof that you were losing ground. It was often proof that your movement carried significance, because opposition does not waste effort on what carries no purpose. And the very fact that you are still standing reveals that what God has planted over your life cannot be uprooted by hidden pressure. There were seasons when you questioned your own progress, when you wondered if your prayers were reaching beyond the ceiling, when you felt as though effort was going unnoticed. Yet the work God does in a person is rarely loud at the beginning. It is deep, it is quiet, it is layered, and it forms a strength that does not collapse when pressure increases. You are not just being comforted in this prayer, you are being repositioned internally, shifted from survival into stability, from endurance into authority, from uncertainty into grounded assurance. Because the God who strengthens the soul does not merely soothe pain, he restructures perspective. The heaviness that once lingered over your thoughts is losing its familiarity. The confusion that once felt normal is losing its hold. The discouragement that once felt constant is losing its voice, because clarity is emerging where fog once existed, and peace is taking shape where tension once lived. There are things that were spoken over you that were never authorized by God. Assumptions, projections, expectations, judgments, and those words attempted to define you silently. Yet in this moment, those definitions are dissolving, because your identity is being realigned with truth rather than with pressure. You are not called to live beneath the weight of what others could not understand about you. You are not meant to shrink beneath the opinions that tried to limit you. And the more the presence of God surrounds your awareness, the more those external voices lose their influence over your inner stability. This is not a fragile peace settling over you. It is a resilient one, the kind that remains even when the environment does not immediately change, the kind that steadies your breathing, calms your thoughts, and anchors your spirit, even while circumstances are still unfolding. You are beginning to recognize that endurance was never wasted time, that waiting was never meaningless delay, that every season carried a hidden purpose shaping you, preparing you, strengthening you in ways that are only now becoming visible as clarity continues to grow. Nothing about your journey has been accidental. Nothing about your preservation has been random. And even the struggles you did not understand are now forming wisdom within you, discernment within you, and spiritual awareness within you that will serve you well in the path ahead. The covering that surrounds you in this moment is not distant, not abstract, not theoretical. It is active, it is present, it is intentional. And the more your spirit aligns with this truth, the more your life begins to respond to it with quiet confidence and renewed direction. You are being strengthened now at a level that goes deeper than emotion, deeper than momentary comfort, deeper than surface encouragement, because the work taking place within you is not temporary. It is foundational. It is restructuring the way you perceive your battles, the way you interpret resistance, and the way you understand the authority that rests upon your life. The more your spirit aligns with truth, the less power confusion holds over you, the less intimidation can linger near you, the less heaviness can settle around you, because clarity begins to occupy the space where uncertainty once lived, and discernment begins to replace every place where doubt once whispered. There are forces that once attempted to make you feel small, overlooked, delayed, or unworthy, but those influences are losing their foothold, because awareness is rising within you. And when a person becomes spiritually aware, manipulation loses access, deception loses influence, and a hidden opposition begins to weaken without needing to be chased. You are no longer absorbing every negative atmosphere that surrounds you. You're no longer internalizing every pressure that approaches you, because a spiritual boundary is being formed around your inner world, a line of protection that says not everything is permitted to enter your thoughts, your emotions, your spirit, or your direction. The assignments that were released quietly against your progress are being quietly dismantled, not with noise, not with chaos, but with precision. Because divine authority does not need volume to be effective. It needs alignment. And alignment is what is being established within you right now. You are not being built for fragile peace. You are being built for resilient stability, the kind that remains when conversations feel heavy, when environments feel tense, when delays feel discouraging. Because your grounding is no longer coming from external reassurance, but from internal alignment with divine covering. Every attempt to weaken your confidence is losing momentum. Every attempt to distort your perception is losing influence. Every attempt to exhaust your spirit is losing effectiveness, because strength is rising within you. That is not dependent on circumstances changing first. It is rooted in the understanding that you are not standing alone. You are beginning to walk with a different posture internally. Not defensive, not fearful, not anxious, but aware, centered, and spiritually steady. And that shift alone changes how opposition approaches you. Because resistance often thrives where insecurity exists, but it retreats where quiet authority stands. The protection surrounding you is not passive, it is active, it is alert, it is intentional, intercepting what you cannot see, redirecting what you are not aware of, softening what could have harmed you, and strengthening you where you once felt exposed. This season is not about proving strength outwardly, it is about embodying strength inwardly, becoming anchored, becoming discerning, becoming unshaken. And as that stability continues to grow, you will begin to notice that what once unsettled you no longer holds the same power over your peace. You are being prepared quietly for what is ahead, fortified internally for future doors, future responsibilities, future elevation, because divine protection does not only defend you from harm, it equips you for progress, it matures you for purpose, and it stabilizes you for the path that is still unfolding. There is a deeper awareness settling over you now, the kind that does not come from fear, but from alignment, where you begin to recognize what is yours to carry and what must be rejected, what is yours to receive, and what must be returned to sender without hesitation, without negotiation, without permission to remain. You are not obligated to host every atmosphere you walk into. You are not required to absorb every emotional weight around you, because your spirit is being trained to discern what belongs to you and what does not. And anything that arrives carrying heaviness, confusion, discouragement, or silent oppression is being identified and released from your space. The God who surrounds you does not only defend you externally, he strengthens you internally, teaching you to stand with awareness, to walk with clarity, to speak with discernment, so that manipulation no longer gains access through uncertainty and intimidation, no longer gains influence through emotional exhaustion. There have been patterns that attempted to repeat themselves in your life, cycles of delay, cycles of discouragement, cycles of heaviness that tried to convince you they were permanent. Yet in this moment, those cycles are being interrupted, not by forceful striving, but by spiritual authority that is beginning to take root within you. You are not being reshaped into someone fragile. You are being reshaped into someone spiritually aware, someone grounded, someone rooted, someone whose presence begins to disrupt unhealthy atmospheres simply by existing in alignment with divine truth. The assignments that were released quietly to follow you, to monitor you, to interfere with your progress, are losing their effectiveness because exposure is breaking their influence. Awareness is weakening their access, and divine covering is nullifying their authority. You are no longer moving blindly through seasons. You are beginning to sense when to pause, when to move, when to withdraw, when to proceed. Because discernment is sharpening within you, and discernment protects what strength alone cannot. The weight that once pressed against your chest, the mental fog that once clouded your thoughts, the emotional exhaustion that once drained your energy is losing familiarity, because the presence of God is not only surrounding you, it is cleansing your inner atmosphere gently but thoroughly. There is a restoration of spiritual confidence taking place within you now. Not pride, but clarity, the kind that allows you to stand without trembling, to speak without fear, to walk without shrinking, because you are beginning to understand that you are not unprotected in this world. What once felt like vulnerability is becoming sensitivity. What once felt like weakness is becoming discernment. What once felt like fear is becoming awareness, because God is transforming the very areas that once troubled you into places of strength. You are being trained to live from a place of spiritual stability, where you no longer react to every pressure, no longer panic at every delay, no longer collapse under every emotional weight, because something stronger is now governing your inner world. You are not walking into each day unaware anymore. You are becoming conscious of the atmosphere around you, sensitive to the movements of your spirit, alert to what strengthens you and what drains you. And this awareness itself is becoming a form of protection that keeps you from being overtaken by influences that once passed unnoticed. The presence surrounding you is no longer something distant or abstract. It is becoming familiar, tangible in the way your thoughts begin to settle, in the way your reactions begin to soften, in the way your inner world begins to feel steadier, even when outer circumstances still feel uncertain. There are spaces you once entered that left you feeling depleted, conversations you once engaged that left you feeling confused, environments you once tolerated that left you feeling heavy. Yet now your spirit is learning to withdraw gently from what disrupts your peace and remain anchored in what strengthens your alignment. You are beginning to understand that protection is not only about what God blocks externally, but also about what He teaches you internally. The wisdom to recognize patterns, the discernment to sense intentions, the clarity to step away from what quietly erodes your strength. The same hand that preserved you in seasons you did not understand is guiding you now with greater precision, leading you away from unnecessary battles, unnecessary attachments, unnecessary burdens, and toward paths that feel lighter because they are aligned with divine purpose rather than emotional obligation. There are thoughts that once felt overwhelming that now pass more quietly, emotions that once lingered too long that now release more easily, pressures that once felt suffocating that now lose their weight, because healing is taking place beneath the surface, subtle but consistent. You're not becoming colder, you are becoming wiser, not more guarded in fear, but more grounded in understanding, where you can remain compassionate without being consumed, present without being drained, connected without being controlled. The work being done within you is shaping resilience, the kind that does not harden the heart, but strengthens it. The kind that allows you to feel deeply without collapsing, to care genuinely without losing yourself, to trust without becoming vulnerable to harm. You are no longer required to prove your strength through endurance alone. You are learning that true strength includes rest, boundaries, stillness, and discernment, and that this kind of strength preserves your spirit rather than exhausting it. What is unfolding within you is not temporary progress. It is transformation. Slow, intentional, rooted. And the more this process continues, the more you will notice that what once disturbed your peace no longer carries the same authority over your inner world. You are not being rushed through this transformation. You are being led with intention, because the work God does within a person is not careless or hurried. It is deliberate, patient, and precise, shaping your inner foundation so that what rises within you will remain steady when life attempts to shake the surface again. There are moments now when you catch yourself responding differently than you once would have, pausing where you once reacted, breathing where you once panicked, discerning where you once doubted. And these quiet shifts are evidence that spiritual strength is no longer theoretical in your life. It is becoming lived experience. You are beginning to recognize when something does not belong in your atmosphere, when a heaviness is not yours to carry, when a discouragement is not yours to accept. And in that recognition comes authority, the authority to release, the authority to refuse, the authority to return every foreign burden back to its sender. The weight of other people's emotions, expectations, and silent pressures is no longer settling as deeply as it once did, because a boundary has been forming within you, not harsh, not closed, but firm and discerning, protecting the space God is cultivating inside your spirit. There is a growing clarity in your perception now, where situations that once confused you begin to make more sense, where patterns that once felt mysterious begin to reveal themselves, where motives that once felt hidden begin to lose their power, because light is quietly increasing within your awareness. You are not losing compassion as you grow stronger. You are gaining balance, learning how to remain kind without becoming consumed, present without becoming overwhelmed, loving without abandoning your own stability. And that balance is part of the healing God is establishing within you. The battles that once felt constant are beginning to lose their intensity, not because challenges no longer exist, but because your internal posture is changing. Your spiritual footing is stronger. Your sense of covering is deeper. And what once felt threatening no longer feels as intimidating. You are no longer defined by what you have endured. You are being redefined by how you are being restored, by how your spirit is rising, by how your perspective is shifting, by how your heart is becoming steadier even while life continues to unfold. There are things that once tried to attach themselves to your identity, labels, fears, insecurities, doubts. Yet those attachments are loosening because your true identity is being remembered, reclaimed, and restored, shaped more by divine truth than by past wounds. The peace that is forming within you now is not fragile. It is not dependent on everything being perfect around you. It is anchored, grounded, and quietly resilient, able to remain even when the world around you feels uncertain. You are stepping into a season where you no longer feel carried only by survival, but by purpose, by awareness, by alignment. And that shift is subtle yet powerful, because when a person begins to live from alignment rather than exhaustion, everything around them begins to respond differently. You're not walking blindly anymore. You are being guided with intention, not only by circumstance, but by a quiet inner clarity that is forming within you, where your steps begin to align more naturally with peace rather than pressure, with wisdom rather than impulse, with discernment rather than fear. The Lord, who has been strengthening your soul, is also steadying your direction, teaching you how to move without anxiety, how to wait without frustration, how to proceed without self-doubt, because divine guidance does not create confusion. It produces calm assurance, even when the path ahead is still unfolding. There are doors that once felt sealed that are now loosening, not always visibly yet, but spiritually. Because when resistance begins to weaken internally, movement begins to shift externally, and what once felt immovable begins to respond to divine timing. You are not being prepared for chaos. You are being prepared for stewardship, for responsibility, for clarity, for seasons that require maturity rather than haste. And the work taking place within you now is equipping you quietly for what is ahead. The heaviness that once made decision-making difficult is lifting. The fog that once clouded your perception is thinning. The hesitation that once stalled your movement is losing strength, because clarity is becoming more familiar within your inner world. You are beginning to trust your spiritual instincts again, not impulsively, but thoughtfully, sensing when something aligns with peace and when something carries subtle resistance. And this sensitivity is becoming a tool of protection rather than a source of confusion. The delays that once felt like punishment are beginning to reveal themselves as protection. The closed doors that once felt like rejection are beginning to make sense as redirection. And this new perspective is allowing you to move forward with less bitterness and more understanding. You are not being positioned for small outcomes. You are being shaped for long-term purpose. And the patience being cultivated within you now is not weakness. It is strength being formed slowly so that you will not collapse under the weight of what is meant to come. There is a renewed stability settling into your emotional world, where reactions feel less extreme, where disappointments feel less consuming, where uncertainty feels less threatening, because your foundation is no longer built on shifting emotion, but on growing inner clarity. You are no longer driven only by urgency. You are beginning to move with wisdom, timing, and awareness. And that shift alone changes the outcomes of your choices, the nature of your relationships, and the direction of your path. What God is establishing within you now is not temporary momentum. It is sustainable direction, the kind that does not fade when excitement fades, the kind that does not collapse when challenges arise, the kind that remains steady because it is anchored in truth rather than feeling. You are beginning to understand that direction does not always arrive as loud instruction. Sometimes it comes as quiet certainty, a steady inner knowing that guides your steps gently, protecting you from paths that would drain you and leading you towards spaces that strengthen you. The pressure that once forced you to rush is losing its influence, because wisdom is teaching you that haste is not the same as movement, and peace is not the same as delay. And this understanding is allowing you to walk forward without fear of being left behind. There are choices you once made out of survival that you are no longer called to make, because survival is no longer your posture. Alignment is, and the shift from surviving to aligning changes how you evaluate people, opportunities, environments, and even your own thoughts. You are becoming more attentive to what feels heavy and what feels life-giving, more aware of what drains your spirit and what strengthens it. And this sensitivity is not weakness. It is discernment growing stronger with each passing season. The confusion that once lingered over your decisions is clearing slowly, replaced with a steadier sense of direction, where even when you do not know every step ahead, you know when something feels right and when something feels misaligned. You are no longer required to force clarity through anxiety, because clarity is emerging through stillness, through reflection, through awareness. And this kind of clarity does not vanish when pressure rises. It deepens. The emotional exhaustion that once accompanied every decision is easing, because you are no longer trying to control outcomes that were never yours to control. And surrender is becoming a place of strength rather than a place of fear. You are learning to trust the pace of your journey, even when it feels slower than you expected, because the depth of the work happening within you is more valuable than the speed of the progress around you. There is a growing sense of stability around your identity now, where you are less shaken by opinions, less affected by comparisons, less disturbed by external noise, because your sense of self is becoming rooted in something deeper than approval. You're not walking toward uncertainty anymore. You are walking toward purpose, even when you cannot yet see the full shape of it, because the alignment forming within you is already guiding your steps in ways you will only fully understand in time. You are beginning to realize that the path unfolding before you is not chaotic, even when it feels unfamiliar, because divine order is guiding your steps quietly, arranging what you could not have planned, protecting you from outcomes you could not have foreseen. The unease that once followed you is losing its place, replaced by a steadier calm, not because every question has been answered, but because trust is taking deeper root within you, allowing you to move without needing full visibility of what lies ahead. There are moments when you sense a gentle restraint, a quiet pause, a subtle redirection, and these moments are not obstacles. They are protection, evidence that God is actively involved in the details of your journey, guarding you even when you do not recognize it immediately. You are no longer moving driven by fear of missing out. You are learning to move guided by discernment, recognizing that not every opportunity is assignment, not every open door is alignment, and not every voice deserves access to your spirit. The pressure to prove yourself is loosening its grip because you are beginning to understand that your worth was never dependent on performance, and your destiny was never dependent on striving. It was always anchored in divine purpose. You are becoming more comfortable with stillness, more at ease with reflection, more willing to wait when needed, because waiting is no longer interpreted as stagnation. It is understood as preparation, positioning, and refinement. The anxiety that once accompanied uncertainty is slowly dissolving, replaced with a deeper patience, a steadier hope, a quieter trust that allows you to breathe more freely, even when circumstances have not fully shifted yet. You are beginning to see that not everything that ended was a loss, not everything that delayed was denial, and not every closed door was rejection, because some endings were protection, some delays were mercy, and some closures were divine redirection. Your spirit is becoming less reactive and more responsive, less scattered and more centered, less overwhelmed and more grounded, because the work God is doing within you is reshaping not only your perspective, but your entire posture towards life. You are being shaped for endurance without bitterness, for patience without despair, for perseverance without exhaustion. And this balance is rare, formed only through deep inner transformation. What is growing within you now is not temporary resilience. It is lasting stability, the kind that will carry you through future seasons without losing your sense of peace, direction, or identity. You are no longer moving through life as someone merely reacting to circumstances. You are becoming someone who responds with awareness, with grounding, with quiet authority, because the work taking place within you has begun to change not only how you feel, but how you stand. There are situations that once would have shaken you deeply that now feel less overpowering, not because they have lost their weight entirely, but because your inner stability has increased and strength within you is beginning to meet pressure with calm rather than collapse. You are becoming more conscious of your own worth, less willing to tolerate what diminishes you, less inclined to remain in spaces that drain you. And this shift is not rebellion. It is wisdom forming, discernment, awakening, self-preservation rooted in truth rather than fear. The emotional heaviness that once followed you like a shadow is no longer clinging with the same intensity because light is rising within you. Clarity is expanding within you, and what grows brighter internally begins to weaken what once thrived in the dark. You are learning that you do not have to fight every battle outwardly, that some victories happen quietly within the heart, in the way you choose peace instead of panic, in the way you choose rest instead of overthinking, in the way you choose trust instead of fear. There are moments when you now catch yourself choosing differently, speaking more gently to yourself, withdrawing from negativity more quickly, guarding your energy more intentionally. And these small shifts are evidence that healing is not only happening, it is taking root. You are beginning to understand that strength does not always look like effort. Sometimes it looks like stillness, restraint, patience, and the ability to remain grounded when everything around you feels unstable. The resilience forming within you is not loud or dramatic. It is steady, consistent, and durable. The kind of strength that holds when others grow tired. The kind that does not depend on external validation to remain intact. You are no longer only hoping for change around you. You are witnessing change within you. And that internal change is more powerful than any external shift, because it shapes how you interpret, how you respond, and how you move forward. There is a sense of quiet rebuilding happening in your spirit, like something that was once worn down, being restored gently but thoroughly, layer by layer, breath by breath, moment by moment, preparing you for what still lies ahead. You are not arriving at the end of your journey. You are arriving at a new depth of understanding, a new level of awareness, a new kind of strength that will carry you forward with more clarity, more steadiness, and more peace than you have known before. You are beginning to move with a new kind of confidence, not rooted in pride, but in awareness. The awareness that you are not walking alone, that your life is not exposed to chaos, that your steps are being watched over with intention, even when you cannot trace the path clearly. The sense of isolation that once lingered in quiet moments is losing its grip because you are becoming more aware of divine companionship, of unseen covering, of the steady presence that has remained near you even when you felt unseen by others. You are no longer interpreting every challenge as a sign of failure. You are beginning to see difficulty as a place where endurance has been strengthened, where wisdom has been formed, where resilience has taken shape quietly over time. The heaviness that once made mornings feel difficult is easing, not because every burden has disappeared, but because you are learning how to carry life with greater balance, releasing what was never yours to hold, and receiving strength where you once only felt strain. There are internal conversations that once spoke against you that are now growing quieter, replaced with a gentler inner voice, one that reminds you of your worth, your growth, your perseverance, and the progress that has been unfolding even when you could not see it clearly. You are becoming less entangled in the expectations of others, less defined by external approval, less pressured to perform, because your sense of identity is settling into something deeper, something steadier, something less easily shaken. The space within you that once felt chaotic is becoming more ordered, more peaceful, more grounded. And this internal order is beginning to influence the way you walk into rooms, the way you engage with people, the way you carry yourself through each day. You are not being shaped into someone distant or withdrawn. You are being shaped into someone centered, someone aware, someone whose peace is not easily disturbed, and whose presence begins to bring calm rather than tension. The restoration taking place within you is not only emotional, it is spiritual, aligning you more closely with truth, with purpose, with clarity. And the more that alignment deepens, less power confusion holds over your direction. You're starting to sense that what lies ahead is not something to fear, but something to grow toward. Not something to shrink from, but something to step into with quiet trust, because the strength forming within you is preparing you for it. This season is not about becoming someone entirely new. It is about returning to who you were always meant to be before fear, pressure, and exhaustion tried to reshape you into something smaller. You are arriving at a place within yourself where peace feels more familiar than panic, where steadiness feels more natural than struggle, where trust feels more grounded than fear. And this shift is not accidental. It is the result of everything that has been strengthened, restored, clarified, and realigned along your journey. The battles that once defined your days are no longer shaping your identity, because your identity is being anchored more deeply in truth, worth, in purpose, in the understanding that you are not a person fighting endlessly for survival, but a person being preserved intentionally for significance. You are no longer living from a place of constant defense, bracing for impact, anticipating disappointment, preparing for harm, because something within you has learned to rest under divine covering, to trust that you are seen, known, protected, and held with care beyond what you can measure. The atmosphere around your life is not the same as it once was, because you are not the same as you once were. Your awareness has changed. Your posture has shifted. Your discernment has sharpened, and the environment around you responds to that internal transformation in subtle but powerful ways. You are beginning to walk with a presence that feels steadier, calmer, more grounded, not because life has become perfect, but because you are becoming rooted, and rooted people are not easily shaken even when winds still rise. The delays that once discouraged you no longer carry the same weight. The resistance that once intimidated you no longer holds the same authority. The heaviness that once exhausted you no longer feels like your normal, because strength has been cultivated where weakness once lived. You are not looking for escape anymore. You are learning to inhabit your life fully, to breathe more freely, to move more intentionally, to engage more thoughtfully, because the inner work that has taken place is allowing you to experience life from a place of presence rather than pressure. There is a quiet gratitude forming within you now, not forced, not performative, but genuine. The kind that comes from realizing how much you have survived, how much you have grown, how much has shifted beneath the surface, even when you thought nothing was changing. You are not stepping forward as someone untouched by struggle. You are stepping forward as someone refined by it, shaped by it, strengthened by it. And that kind of strength carries depth, wisdom, compassion, and resilience that cannot be manufactured. The journey you are on is not finished, but you are no longer walking it in the same way. You are walking with more clarity, more steadiness, more awareness, more trust. And that difference will continue to shape everything that unfolds ahead of you. You are not moving towards something uncertain. You are moving towards something prepared, something intentional, something aligned with who you are becoming. And even when you cannot yet see every detail, you can feel the difference in how you stand, how you breathe, how you believe, and how you continue. If this prayer has strengthened you in any way, take a quiet moment and let your heart agree with what has been spoken over your life. You can show that agreement by typing Amen in the comments, not as a ritual, but as a simple way of saying you receive peace, clarity, protection, and restoration. And if you know someone who has been carrying silent battles, heaviness, confusion, or discouragement, you can gently share this prayer with them. Sometimes one prayer heard at the right moment becomes the turning point someone has been needing. If you would like to stay connected to more moments like this, you are welcome to subscribe and walk this journey of prayer and encouragement together. May the Lord strengthen your inner being. May His presence surround you where you go. May what was sent to disturb your peace lose its hold and find no place in your path. May clarity rest on your mind, calm settle in your heart, and divine favor go before you. May you continue to rise with steadiness, walk with discernment, and live with the quiet assurance that you are covered, guided, and never alone. Until the next time, may the Lord bless you, keep you, and surround you with unshakable peace. Go in strength, go in confidence, and go knowing your story has already turned into your favor.